Hey guys, thanks for watching. This is Be Better Golf Live. I'm here, I'm the host, Brendan DeVore. I'm here with Monte Scheinblum, who is, how do you describe yourself to people like that had never heard of you? What's like the one line about you?
Oh, I'm the anarchist. That's what
Okay.
somebody labeled me.
Golf
that.
anarchist.
Yeah, no. You know, I kind of describe my instructional method as, you know, since there's no right way to do it, you know, not chipping, not putting, not swinging the club.
Yeah.
I try to label it as easier. You know,
Okay.
you know, it's not a Band-Aid, not some just trying to make it easier in all facets of the game, no matter the level of the player.
Right. So golf is hard, right?
It's very hard.
So this last weekend, Sergio Garcia won at the Byron Nelson
Yes.
tournament. So before we go on to Sergio, who is a swing that seems to kind of hypnotize people. There are people who love that golf swing. We'll get into it. Tell me quickly, what do you think about the way Byron Nelson used to do it?
Well, you know, he had what a lot of people would call a collapse of the lower body, or a diving at it with the lower body.
That left knee was very soft into the shot.
Yeah.
But on purpose, he said it helped him keep the face square.
You know, and that worked for him, and it worked for his protege Tom Watson pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm, you know, for a while I went on that snap left knee post up thing.
Well, as a long drive competitor, you can get some extra distance out of that, do you think?
No.
Oh, no.
No.
There's Tiger in his How I Play Golf book said that he did that, snapping the left knee to give himself another gear. But
well, you know, like we discussed before, hip speed is not where club head speed comes from.
Yep.
But Nelson, you know, he made it work. You know, how like Spieth used his left elbow to hold the face off.
Yeah.
You know, Nelson used that little lower body dive to do the same. And it's, you know, just like everything else in golf, the snap left knee of Tiger and the, you know, diving lower body, very soft left knee of Nelson, those are like the two extremes of success. Mm-hmm. And the average person needs to find the middle ground there.
Sergios Swing. Everyone sees Sergios Swing. They see this awesome down cocking move, and then this pressure of the, you know, leaning
all that
shaft
good
forward,
stuff.
monster divot. You know, it looks cool.
There's a couple of things that people need to know about Sergio.
Yeah.
You know, I always preface all of my comments and sometimes what is labeled as criticisms of tour players' golf swings as nothing more than me making a case that average Joe 5'8", 12 handicapper shouldn't be copying it because of the. So a couple of things is it's been proven with 3D, the system that the My Swing, that a shaft that's more laid down gives a 2D appearance from face on, that there's more lag.
Yeah.
And in reality, there's not.
Okay.
So don't get me wrong, Sergio has lots of lag. He's in the top, you know, of people that have that, but he doesn't have near as much as because of the way he lays the shaft down.
So from this angle, like you guys are seeing here in the camera, so from this angle, the shaft looks like this angle is getting, so say this is the shaft, looks like this angle is going like this, getting really narrow, when actually if you were down the line, you see it laying down like this.
So, you know, just to illustrate the point here, this looks like, okay, a decent amount, like if I had the shaft right here, okay, that looks good. But if I go like that, now all of a sudden that angle looks a lot more acute.
Yeah.
You know, so what would be 90 degrees is going to look like 60 degrees if I just, you know, I've watched him hit balls where, I mean, he hits driver and that thing looks like it's coming out head high.
Okay.
And even though he's, you know, I haven't looked at the stats this year, but I've seen in the past where his club head speed, he's higher up on the club head speed ratings than he is in driving distance ratings.
Okay.
Because he's so steep, the ball comes out low and he doesn't get the optimum ball flight. So he's actually trying to soften up that, not get so deep in there. So I find it ironic that people are trying to copy something that he's trying to, you know, let go of a little bit.
Sergio is the example that a lot of people who are like lag junkies will use to say, oh, Sergio is this amazing ball striker.
And he's
got this massive amount of lag.
Yeah.
But it's funny when you look at YouTube and you do the analytics of YouTube and you see the different terms of golf that people are searching. Obviously, there's Tiger Woods and distance and things like that. And but right up there, one of the top things that people seem to want out there is people are desperate to have more lag.
Golf instruction and getting better at golf has ceased to become about let's do what's right.
Okay.
And let's do the polar opposite of bad.
Okay.
So obviously this is a weak move.
Right.
Okay? I always say lag is an SAT question. Okay? If, the SAT question is, Joe has lag. Joe has lots of lag, and Joe is a long hitter. So all people with lots of lag are long hitters. Obviously, if you were taking the SAT, you would answer false on that one. Long hitters, because of the speed and the transition sequence and the amount of torque they create, because they hit the ball far, creates lag.
Yeah.
If you're a 100-mile-per-hour guy, and you try to create the amount of lag that 130-mile-per-hour guy creates, good luck on getting results out of that.
Something somebody said to me recently was, because I was talking about something, and he said, you're confusing what happens with what to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's great wording.
Yeah.
Right. Lag is what happens when you have a good setup, you make a good backswing and a good transition. You get lag. You don't get lag.
Right.
Right.
One thing that I noticed in the tournament, last thing about this tournament last weekend, which makes me think about kind of more of a course strategy thing, is that Brooks Koepka was close to the lead. He's won before. Anyway, so in Phoenix, I think. So he was close to the lead, and he started hitting a lot of 3-woods off the tee, off the first tee, and then I think on the 18th he had a 3-wood, a very big-headed 3-wood that he had teed up very high. But it was a 3-wood, and he hit that in the water. A lot of times people will use, first of all, there's an idea that 3-wood is more of a fairway finder than the driver. It might be true. What do you think of that?
I've seen some statistics where it's actually the opposite.
Because a 3-wood is a hard club to hit.
It
sometimes.
is.
Yeah.
Well, personally, I'm horrible with 3-wood. It's the worst club in my bag.
Okay.
Because the faults that I have in my swing that I'm trying to rectify don't match.
Okay.
I tend to get a little vertical with the shaft and a little narrow.
Yep.
I can get away with it with a driver because the driver's teed up like that, and the head's real big. But I make this move on a 3-wood. It's low and in the heel, and it's short and over there. I'm much better off hitting one of those deep, fat-faced 2-irons.
Okay.
That that's not a hybrid. It's like a driving iron.
Yeah.
The faults I have in my swing, that club matches better than a 3-wood. But yeah, to me, a 3-wood is only when the fairway ends, and I can only hit it 280 or 90, or when there's a really, really short par 4 that's 280 or 90, or when I'm going into the green on a long par 5. It's never a fairway finder.
One comment that somebody made in our last video was, hey, thanks guys, I've been hitting the ball really, really well on the range using a tip that we had about vertical shoulders and flattening. But that's not the point. He said, I'm hitting the ball really, really well. Thanks a lot. And so I wrote back to this guy, and I said, cool, have you taken it to the course yet? And his comment, I think, is really touches on something that is out there for golfers. I said, oh, cool, have you taken it to the course yet? He said, oh, no, not brave enough to do that yet.
Oh, yeah,
and I think that's a lot of what we talked about last week. As far as taking it to the course, people think of what you do in the range is not what you can possibly do in the course.
No, I mean, get out there, man.
Yeah.
The best thing to do, go out there. It's summertime. It doesn't get dark till past 8 o'clock now.
Yeah.
Go out there 6:30, pay the super twilight rate. Go out there and practice your golf game out there. And then it'll make it, see, that's a huge step to go from the range to the course.
Yeah.
Okay? Now all of a sudden we're adding an intermediate step.
Yeah.
I'm taking my range practice out on the golf course. And when you're out there hitting 2-3 balls, you know, all of a sudden you start to get in a rhythm, you start to get more comfortable with it, and then you start to see what works out there.
Because a lot of times when golfers will have like, a lot of times you hear, oh, I just tried this tip, I just had the best range session of my life. You're scared to go to the course because the power of a bad score will end this progress you made. It's like, I just had the best range session of my life. I went out, I shot 85 as a whatever, 5 handicap. Now I'm like vomiting all the way home, and that's the end of that tip.
Exactly right. The biggest hindrances to people getting better is too much emotional attachment to one shot and one day.
Yeah.
You know, I've had clients, students, come here, come see me, and they're a 12, okay? And by lesson number 3, they're trending down to, you know, 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And then I won't see them for a month, and I come back and they've completely reverted, and I go, what happened? They're like, well, you know, I was a 12 and I shot 6 out of 7 rounds in the 70s, and then I shot an 88, and I'm like, oh, this isn't working anymore.
Yeah.
And then they end up, that's not the way it works. Golf is not
right.
Like
it's like the stock market, but it's trending.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just like the Dow Jones, but you want it trending up. And just because the Dow Jones goes down 100, we would hope that the financial community doesn't panic and we end up with another crash.
Yeah.
I mean, if it goes down 100, 12 straight days, then we have a problem.
Yeah.
But you know, when as long as the last month it's up 1,000, down 50 or 100 one day is not a big deal. People don't study what the best players in the world do aside from their swing. Oh, look what this guy does in his swing. He's built like, you know, Dustin Johnson, bowed left wrist, hits it far, I'm gonna bow my left wrist. No, what you do is you look at a PGA Tour player's record. James Hahn, we just talked about him, missed 7 cuts in a row, wins.
Yeah.
You know, golf is a funny game. You'll see tour players shoot 63, 78. You have to stop. You have to look. The smaller the sample size you use in your golf game to judge it, the worse you're going to judge yourself. You better have a bad month before you start saying, okay, what I'm doing is a problem.
Right. Guys, we talk about this in more in depth in the video I made with Monte called Taking It to the Course. It's a fantastic way to support the channel, and you also get some really cool information in a different kind of more on the course setting. So right here will be the link for that. So now let's move over to the questions. Okay, somebody's asking good suggestions for somebody who feels like they're whipping the club to the inside early on the takeaway.
You know, there's a couple of different ways you can approach this.
Yeah.
You know, it's disappear. No, oh yeah. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Look, it's not, you know, this is not a difficult concept to address. Your hands are here.
Yeah.
In a backswing, we go to there.
At some point, they got to get there. Yeah.
Okay. So if we're going to go from here to here, that's kind of a diagonal. There's going to be some vertical. There's going to be some horizontal. Okay. You see some guys go like this in the takeaway.
Yeah.
That's too vertical.
Yeah.
The guys that whip it to the inside.
It's too flat.
It's too horizontal.
Yeah.
So you fix the mistake you're making by adding some of the other.
Okay.
So if you're whipping the club too far to the inside, the two easiest ways, I use again easy, a little more vertical hinge, because you know when you roll the hinge too much, you get it behind you. So a little more vertical hinge, or the left arm works a little more up. So you know if you were swinging on this level, you'd want your left arm swinging level to your shoulder turn. Yeah. Okay? And so when you're getting it inside, some of you are doing it this way, you know? So that's getting across.
So you're tipped over here and they're working like this.
Correct.
Rather than.
Well, and then that would be too vertical.
Right. So you just split the difference.
Exactly right. Yeah. You know, the golf swing, people would make the golf swing a lot easier for them if they started picturing everything in their golf swing in a diagonal.
Yeah.
You know? Especially the hand and arm path. So like if you're looking at me this way, that's a diagonal. If you're looking at me this way, that's a diagonal. Right. That's a diagonal. That's a diagonal. You know?
Yeah.
They start getting themselves in trouble when either in the takeaway or the downswing, there's too much horizontal or too much vertical.
What about the player that right off the ball kind of fans it open and into the inside.
Right. That's not enough. See, when you make a backswing, there's shoulder turn, there's left arm rotation, and there's hinging and cocking of the wrists. So someone that's doing that has all left arm rotation. So, you know, if you, let me just get to the side here and let me borrow your weapon here. So the guy that's doing this, that's obviously what we don't want. Okay? But without moving my arm position, if all I did was add vertical hinge to the, now all of a sudden I'm in position. You know? So it's always either not enough of this or too much of that.
I'm hitting my irons in the center of the face, but my driver in the heel lately. What do you think might be happening?
Probably 80% of the time. When you're flushing your irons and you hit your driver in the heel, especially low in the heel, you're trying to hit too much up on it. You got too much secondary tilt. You're hitting up on it too much. And this has become very, very prevalent with these big-headed drivers and this whole movement toward you must hit, and you must hit up 5. So everybody ends up, you know, coming into the ball like this, and that's, you know, to me, that's generally what the way it happens.
He could be having an issue where he takes it back, and then the right shoulder's
just
trying to
dropping
go to first
too much.
base. Go like that. And,
too vertical of a shoulder turn, trying to hit up on it. But I mean, we could have a 2-hour discussion on all of the things that cause that.
But usually.
But the overall residing issue is he's hitting up on it too much.
All right, where should someone stop the shoulder turn on the backswing? What's a good checkpoint for that?
Okay, the human brain and the feel that you have will mistake arm swing for shoulder turn. People think, oh, look at all this extra shoulder turn I have. The more important one is people will mistake tilt toward the target as more shoulder turn. For me, that's as far as I can turn my shoulders. This feels like I'm turning them more, but I'm not. I'm just tilting toward the target. Your midline is just a line drawn up the center of your body, you know, where your sternum would be, where your zipper and your shirt collar would be. Generally speaking, you don't want your right shoulder going past that midline, because then that all of a sudden is your spine getting out of position. So, you know, this right shoulder is right in the middle of my stance. That now it's starting to go toward the left foot. That's no bueno. The terminology I use is, you know, turn your shoulders to the max where you can still sustain the tilt away from the target that you had it address. So, you know, I'm a little bit tilted behind, you know, my spine's a little bit tilted. So that's the most I can go. If I go further, I'm starting to lose that spine tilt away from the target.
I'm not able to shorten my backswing at all until I feel fully cocked. If I still feel like there's some more play here in this angle, I'll keep going until this is done.
That's not just you, that's everybody. Because, you know,
if I want to take a short swing, if I cock it earlier, I can
you can stop your swing right there. Yeah, that's pretty much universal. That's why I think this move is so bad. Because, you know, first of all, how are you going to hit a 50-yard wedge when you're like this? And second of all, your brain is going to let the arms and see, I can't even do it. I lack the flexibility to do it now, which is kind of a good thing, you know. But your brain will let your arms keep going, and you're come out of your tilt here. Because it wants the wrist to set to their max position. You tell your brain, all right, I'm going to hit a shot from here. Your body's going to reject that pretty profusely.
You'll know. I'm going to have to do something real funky not to put this into the ground.